Hi garden lovers! Welcome back to another landscape tour. Today we are in Canby, Oregon, which is just south of Portland, and we are visiting the home of Emily and Austin Booth. They are the owners of Green Seed Gardens, which is a nursery that specializes in native plants. So they grow so many awesome, different, cool, and important native plants. And in this garden tour, we're going to focus on the native plant only sections of their garden. They have a beautiful shady area underneath the Doug fir, and then they have a more sunny native meadow. We're joined by their two beautiful daughters who love to make little cameos sprinting through the film, as well as their cute little doggy Dinah. Let's meet Emily and Austin and see their garden. And Austin, thanks for coming over the fence, or welcoming me over your fence, more like.
We're happy you're here. Welcome to Green Seed Gardens. This has been a project in the making. I'm Emily Booth, and this is my husband.
Austin Booth?
Austin Booth.
Austin
Right.
Booth.
The Booths?
The Booths. Yeah, we like to tease when we go to the sales. We're like, we're the Booths in booth 40. We've been here for about 8 years and it looked nothing like this. So it's been kind of a wild journey and we've done most of it. So we normally like to tell people that we are a native plant nursery, but our gardens are not all native. They're dappled throughout. And then as we take you through, we're gonna show you two really dense native areas, one that's kind of in the shade and one that is an example of our summer meadow.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see. It seems like you're in kind of a garden capital of the world in Canby. What was the motto when I was driving in? It's like
Canby is the garden spot.
the garden spot. Is that why you chose this area?
No.
We looked at a lot of places. We looked in Boring, but
Too boring.
yeah, this one just checked all the boxes. It was a diamond in the rough, and very rough at first, but we've been here almost 10 years now, about 9, I guess, and it's been a labor of love.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to uncover more of that journey as you take me through on this journey. So it seems like kind of a mixture of like Mediterranean plants and drought tolerant.
Yeah, so it is a mix of Mediterranean, drought tolerant California natives, as well as drier areas of Oregon, though we do have the Willamette Valley natives in their own areas as well.
When Austin first started growing, we were growing for our jobs. And when we were designing for people, a lot of times people wanted things that were going to bring them year-round color. They wanted things that were edible, and then they wanted a section that was native and habitat. And so we started growing for that. And part of when we got here, it was like we wanted to make a display garden. We wanted to use the garden for propagation. And we quickly realized that we can't grow everything. It's too much. And so in the last few years, we decided that we were gonna grow for the nursery what we were passionate about. And that was gonna be natives. But in our garden, we continue to follow the principles of things that are gonna bring year-round interest, that are gonna feed the hummingbirds in the winter, because I refuse to clean little hummingbird containers. And so we have put in different plants that will kind of fit those purposes for us.
So it sounds like there are maybe some gaps, like in terms of when things are flowering, like what you're saying about feeding the hummingbirds. In terms of just having native garden only, maybe there's certain times you'd want to plant something else that, blooms at a separate time of year I guess that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, so that's part of what we do. We're also kind of working hard to come up with a list for people that show which natives bloom throughout the season. We tend to have a summer dry area, or things that go summer dormant, like the bleeding heart over here. So eventually in the late summer, this will just die back and go summer dormant. But we've planted ferns in there. So hopefully the ferns will take, and then they will have the evergreen structure when the bleeding hearts die back. But that being said, there are a lot of really amazing drought tolerant plants like cistus. Austin really likes the cistus. We really like the grevilleas. And then we have gone through and kind of meticulously picked some plants that feed the hummingbirds in the winter.
In the wintertime, that's the hummingbirds were not here initially, but when people started putting out feeders in around the 1970s, they stopped migrating back down to California in the wintertime. And so they're here to stay, and we figure we might as well feed them. So we have, some plants, such as like a charity mahonia that will bloom up through Christmas. We have a Thanksgiving mahonia bloomer, and then we've got some manzanitas that take on after that. And so they have a full nectar spread through the winter without having to actually put out any feeders. We have enough space here, with an acre of gardens to be able to put shrubs and to do that, though. That being said, we also find other ways to get this, to get the native in there for the host plant properties.
One of the big things that we like to tell our clients or people that are coming out to buy natives, so the point of having them is that, 1 or 2 or 3 in your yard is going to be great. It's going to be helpful. But grouping a larger clump of natives together is going to be more supportive in the long run. It's also going to help the native bees and the native species. They're going to be able to move more quickly between plants that support them instead of having to look for them in your garden. So it's helpful to have them in your garden.
So a lot of the specialist bees that would go to a native flower, more specifically, they're really tiny, and it takes a lot of energy for them to fly around your garden. And so grouping those together kind of ensures that they have to work less hard to reach that source. And so, there's specialist bees, specialist butterflies, and you can't get all of the full diversity of that without natives. And so that's the kind of why we're doing more of a dual garden where we do natives and ornamentals, so we can fill all of the niches.
It makes so much sense to group them together in one like little group. Because also the caterpillars, right? Like there's certain bugs that only can eat and reproduce on native plants, and so it makes sense that to group those together would also be a good reason for that as well.
The Douglas fir right here above us is a host plant for a lot of butterflies. We have white oaks in the back beyond where we have to remove some blackberries over time, but those are great host plants. But then all of the shrubs and smaller stuff will support a variety of different butterflies and moths, which make up the majority of the food source for migratory birds. That's the key point there. It's, beyond nectar, they also need to have caterpillars to have the full cycle of ecology.
I see an ocean spray in the back. That's a great shrub.
You got ocean spray. We've got thimbleberry. This big ground cover here is yerba buena.
Ooh.
And it smells really good. You can kind of pinch it. This is my my hit for the market with the kids to draw them into the booth. I'll be like, hey, do you want to smell this plant? And so we've heard people make mojitos out of it.
Oh, that's great.
Or tea. And we actually are thinking maybe later on in the season we might do like a drink infusion type thing with native plants. But
I love that. Super medicinal too, yerba buena.
This garden's been in about 2 years, maybe a few things have been in a little bit longer. This is a really dry area. And so like I actually just had someone come out to one of our open hour days, and she's got areas that she really wants to fill in with natives. And she was just surprised to see how pretty it was and that it's dry, that it's not on irrigation. This spot in general was a little tricky because this front area right in here with the penstemons and the Oregon sunshine, this gets a little more sun than the rest of it.
So we also get the afternoon sun there, so that's made this a little tricky too. But the ocean spray is actually a really good adaptable plant that can grow in sun or shade. So, and the thin bilberry is the same too. And we have a western wahoo back there, a more uncommon native shrub, western burning bush. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's got a funny looking flower.
Oh.
It's a euonymus.
Wow. Oh, so cute. And what about this guy right here?
So this is rough hedge nettle. Yes, you can touch it. It's not related to the stinging nettle. It's in the mint family. But it's, it's got an interesting smell to it. I wouldn't say it's necessarily pleasant. not that bad either, but it's, I think it's a good, it seems to be doing fairly well here most of the time. It then goes summer dormant. So we might get some more evergreen structure in here with it. So when it dies back, there's still something here. Or I think it also does well in a wet area or a rain garden as well.
There's another plant that I've seen the sun version of, but not the shade version. So a Phacelia, right?
Yeah, so Oregon Phacelia or shade Phacelia there, Phacelia nemoralis. This one grows in in the shade or sun, really. Disturbed sites, especially.
I just love the little spirals. That's just the coolest thing ever. I'm so drawn to it. It's like a fern frond unfurling.
Yeah, it's always got bumblebees on it too.
So how long do these little like spent flower heads stick around?
Here it's more of a wild, more kind of rewilded woodland setting. So we might just let it do its thing here, or we might let it feed wildlife. I might clip some for seed for the actual nursery as well, because a lot of this stuff here I actually use for propagation.
The nursery is only Oregon native, so we've worked with the Backyard Habitat for a long time when we were doing more installation and helping people create the habitat in their yards. So we actually asked them, can we put your logo on the ones that are specific for PPL? And so that's the Portland plant list, which is a great jumping off point, but hasn't been updated in a long time for the expansion of how far people want to do natives. And so it's a great guideline. And, I've always teased that someday when Austin has more time, he wants to help expand a more full list for that. But on our plants are all Oregon natives, so sometimes they'll be from Southern Oregon or actually this plant is really cool. This is the Pex penstemon. It's kind of finishing its bloom, but this is endemic to the Sisters area. So Austin got a special permit to go pick a specific amount of seeds. 200 seeds, and was able to grow, and we sold a bunch last year. But he's got a great eye for doing seed collection, and he's really into the penstemons and the buckwheats. So that's from over kind of in the Central Oregon area, which we go over to visit my parents because that's where I grew up.
I've never seen a penstemon with such tiny little flowers. It's adorable.
We've actually planted it a few different places. Another one, it was just covered in blooms. It was almost like an ornamental plant. I was like, wait, this is a native?
And was that in more sun?
Yeah, so that it was in more sun. This is really probably on the edge of where a penstemon should be, but I needed a place to put it in the ground at the time that I put it here.
You can also see, so if you look here at the Oregon sunshine, it's going to bloom. It's starting to bloom. But when we take you over to the sunny meadow where the Oregon sunshine has had full sun every day, it's in full glorious bloom. So this is pushing kind of the front edge of light, but it does get some summer sun in the mornings.
this is your native meadow. This is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, this is the native meadow. Everything in here is native except for the rhododendrons, and then I think there's a nativar with the currant. But what, there's over how many?
Over 50 species of native plants in the meadow here, and a very small kind of footprint for that much. But most of them are actually Western Oregon natives here also.
Oh.
We have some Eastern Oregon dappled all over, but where we're doing more of the habitat, we are focusing it more on the local native plants.
Okay. And this must be the Oregon sunshine that you were telling me about.
Yeah.
That is happy.
Very happy in the sun. It gets a little afternoon shade here, but it gets sun almost all day here.
Ah. And then is that penstemon over here too?
Yeah, Cascade penstemon, Penstemon seriolatus.
This is different from the one that's in the shade garden.
Yeah, so this one's native here in Western Oregon. It's probably one of the most common on this side of the mountain. It's naturalizing pretty well in here. You know, started from a few plants, and now it's probably 30 or more through the whole space here.
Yeah. So seriolatus, that's from the serrated leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of the, and this one is on the Portland plant list for people doing the backyard habitat.
Oh, okay.
We have a couple others as well, but most of the penstemons are more east side plants.
And I can see kind of a tragic story happening before my eyes. This little bumblebee's trying to squeeze in there, and I don't know if he's gonna fit, but maybe he can reach.
They will actually shake the flower and buzz. It's like buzz pollination, so they will ultrasonic shake it and to get the nectar out of it.
Wow. So not a tragic story.
No.
This meadow has been super helpful for people to come down and see what it looks like. So we like to let people know that all of our grasses are have viable seed. And so like if we look over on this side, we have the autumn moor grass over there, and that's going to spread out as a clumping grass, but you don't find it anywhere else kind of in the garden. And so over here, what started out as 3 plants has now kind of infilled with the meadow. And so what we do with people in yards that are smaller, you know, we either find things that aren't going to seed as much. We encourage them to put it in a parking strip or near, like we have this on gravel so that you can do some flame weeding. Or you can kind of dig that out. There's certain things that you know, seed way more than others. You know, the Oregon sunshine seems to kind of spread out. There's a mattia over here, this taller yellow flowering, and that has prolific seed. It wants to be a whole meadow just on its own. And if you go up here through the garden on the little pathways, you can see more Phacelia with the little bumbles all over it.
So this is more of the shade Phacelia.
Shade Phacelia, and you can tell by the look of the actual leaves on the flower stalks where they're very separate compound leaves here.
Okay.
Whereas the over here, I actually have Phacelia mutabilis, and it's got the leaves are almost fused, or they're weird, different shapes, odd shapes. This one needs fire to germinate, though. I got it from a place that in Lyons, Oregon, where the wildfires had gone through. I've been trying to grow it here and realized more recently I need to do something about the fact that it needs fire or fire chemicals. So liquid smoke or charcoal are things that I can try to germinate this one going forward.
I guess could you use your blow weeder torch? Would that be too strong?
Potentially. I don't. Some people will use like some straw or something to tinder in there and burn it in like a fireproof container or something over the seed. But mostly it just needs contact with certain chemicals that are in charcoal and stuff like that.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I've been really liking the prunella. It's just starting to come into bloom.
South Hill.
Yeah, and if you feel the leaves, they're a lot softer. This one's growing up a little bit also to the sun, but I tend to see the flowers be a little taller. The flowers themselves are longer. The leaves are a little softer. They get taller. And this is nice too because it stays evergreen.
Oh, awesome.
And then this one that's got its beautiful color underneath it is the Artemisia. And we've got a heuchera that's dappled in under there, and the evergreen huckleberry.
Yeah, the native heuchera looks really beautiful.
I really like the native heuchera. This one actually gets more sun. It does really well in the shade too, but it works more as almost like a clumping ground cover and has that nice spray.
Yeah. So this is a native honeysuckle with like the purple stems.
So this one is a hybrid I found in Grants Pass. I'm pretty certain it's got the Lonicera interrupta, which is a yellow flowered native. And at first I thought it might have been the pink honeysuckle, Hispidula, but it's growing so long and vigorously that I think it might actually be the orange honeysuckle. So an orange honeysuckle and a yellow honeysuckle.
Wow.
And it gets these blue leaves because of the yellow honeysuckle genetics.
Okay. Yeah, the stems. I'm so drawn to that. And then you mentioned that the ribes is a nativar. So can you tell me more about that?
Brocklebanki. It is Ribes sanguineum brocklebanki. It came from the UK actually. They bred it there,
Okay.
and it's more common there. But it's come to the States every now and then. You can find it here.
It's done well here. It's flowered well here. There's no irrigation in this bed, and so I think in the long term, this will get moved where it can get some afternoon shade, and it'll be a little happier.
Sometimes it even makes berries, and we'll get even little seedlings under it as well, of varying shades of yellow.
This wild patch right here is our Douglas aster.
Oh, beautiful.
And so we have some nice late summer color with the Douglas aster and then the goldenrod around the corner.
Beautiful. And it seems like you knew to give the aster lots of space. That was a mistake I made in my garden. I was like, I'm going to keep it in this tiny amount of space. And it was like, nope, I'm going to spread over the whole garden bed.
It's going to spread over the whole garden bed and find other places to show up.
God, this mugwort. I would love to see this in more gardens, personally.
This one too.
There's this one as well. Little.
Maddie is kind of overshadowing it.
Oh, wow.
So it's actually the same species but different subspecies.
Do you know where it was found?
I am not sure exactly where this one was found, but it is more of an eastern Oregon or Columbia Gorge variety.
Oh, cool. So you said it's a different subspecies of the same species.
Yeah, this is Artemisia ludoviciana, silver mugwort, or sagewort.
Uh-huh.
And the subspecies is Candicans, Candicans, and this one is Artemisia ludoviciana, subspecies Ludoviciana.
Nice. And I didn't get the name on this grass, which is just absolutely blowing my mind. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
and
tufted hairgrass.
It's tufted hairgrass.
That's
Okay.
Transia
I guess I've never
cespitosa.
seen it looking this good. Maybe I've never planted it in the right spot, but that is just as good as the infamous Stipa giganteum, but a native. So probably provides so much more
you just have to know
benefit to the
put it
wildlife.
in the right spot where it can spread a little bit.
And where the wind can blow it and just tousle it a little bit.
This guy tucked in here, this is the naked buckwheat.
Oh, cute.
And this one's been really great because it'll bloom now and then it will bloom again. And so if
Wow.
you deadhead it, you can get it to come like longer throughout the season.
Eryngium, is that buckwheat?
Eriogonum.
Eriogonum. Okay, there's so many E's. There's so many ERs.
Eriogonum. I think that's the Latin pronunciation.
I'm always like, it's that one plant that does this with the little white flowers that rhymes with, and he'll spit out the Latin name for
you
me.
guys-
So we work really well together. The prairie smoke, though.
Oh my
The prairie
God.
smoke is on fire.
This is nice pun.
I love the prairie
I am
smoke,
also
Guillaume.
very in love with this. This is like such a fairy dream plant. And then planted with this little peach guy. What's this?
Colomia grandiflora.
Okay.
And if you can get a little closer, it actually has blue pollen.
Wow. Dude, it's like when you go deeper into the world of natives, you discover so much beauty that you never even would have considered is there. Yeah, that's a great combo. I mean, all these three, I love these three together.
Yeah, and there's more things getting ready to pop up. So then this is the ceanothus. This is the buckbrush. It's a little entangled with the Dischampsia right now, but this bloomed earlier. And this is a really nice evergreen, relatively fast growing. I've really liked this plant a lot.
Is it blue or?
It's a white flowered ceanothus. It'll still get covered in all kinds of different native bees, just like the blue one will.
Awesome.
Normally we have this glorious loop in here, and you can see that the rain really made it super floppy, and normally we would probably just kind of cleaned it up and let it do its thing, but because this is also our garden for propagation, we've left it here so that we can collect the seed heads from it and everything. So we're waiting for it to finish out, but we have our milkweed in here, and I think you were going to ask us about butterflies.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen any monarchs visiting this? That's the infamous thing, right?
Yeah, we have not, and this far north, it's kind of hit or miss. I think they're a little more common down towards the southern end of the valley, and they're more common on the eastern side of the Cascades than they are here. That being said, it did occur, here to a degree. And we're kind of right on the edge, so it can happen.
Cool.
We're just crossing our fingers.
Yeah. And otherwise, you're feeding a lot of other happy things.
Yeah. We're planting for the hopes that they will come.
Nice.
So we have this one, and then there is a slender leaf milkweed, and I'm not
Tuberosa?
sure. Yeah.
Or no?
No.
Fascicularis.
Yes. But this one is showy, and how showy she is. Ugh.
Gorgeous. We had a whole flat of the slender leaf, and we thought mice had eaten the fresh little leaves, and come to find out it was slugs. And they just took the whole flat out of our new guys. So we'll keep working at it. There's more of them out there.
Those dang slugs. You said you sell at market. Which market is that?
We have been going to different plant markets. For a while, we actually were at the Oregon City Farmers Market, and that was great for us to get established. We opened our nursery in 2020, and that was a great time for nurseries, except that nobody knew who we were. So we kind of fell back more on our landscaping. And then we used the Oregon City Farmers Market to get people to know where we were, build up our email list. But we, for the last 3 years, have been doing Hortlandia, Garden Palooza, Spring Garden Fair.
Cool.
And then we have started opening our gardens. So we do 3 open garden events. And this one that we have coming up at the end of June, we'll have live music and we'll have food. But ideally, we would like to be here more on site, kind of move the nursery to the back so that people could shop there. And then when we do an open garden event, it's kind of its own special thing. But we are slowly getting more stock, more variety, and we're getting more known. And so we want to help either other landscape designers or contractors maybe get into a couple stores, and then just kind of help people build more habitat, learn more about natives, and then learn how to maintain afterwards. I think that's the big thing, is sometimes people will plant natives and they're like, okay, did I do it? Do I have habitat? And there's that next step of creating the mullet or grouping things together. And so I think that learning aspect is really important too. Well, you got sap on you.
Oh. Well, it seems like you guys are just such a amazing resource for the community, and you're educating people and just spreading the good plant information and the great plants sourced from great sources. So
all grown here, all propagated here. Yeah, we grow without peat, we grow without pesticides, without chemical fertilizers. Just natural ingredients and sustainable local ingredients.
Yeah.
We're just happy you're here, and we're excited that people will get to kind of experience our garden that may not get to come out here,
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you have such a big property, at least for me, I can get fixated on what's next, what needs to get done. And I'm excited to see what the garden looks like through your eyes, and kind of take that step back, and we work really hard in the spring, and we do try to take a little more time to enjoy it. And that is something that's what I really like, is having people out here and enjoying the garden and being in it.
Yeah, wonderful.
So we're happy to have you here.
Thanks, Emily. Oh, so where can people find you?
So we have a really active Instagram account, And then you can check out our website, which is greenseedgardens.com. And the best way to stay connected is our newsletter. That'll let you know where we are. That sends out tips about ways to maintain your property with more habitat, lets you know what new plants are dropping. So that's the best way. But I would say, give us a follow on Instagram and stay connected with us. Come out to the garden.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
Yeah. You get a dog squish too.